Hello and welcome to That Seems Unfortunate, the show where we talk about all the interesting events, gaming, and music news with heaps and piles of sarcasm. I'm Chris Vittorio and I'm here with Steven Breitenstein. How you doing, Steve?
Significantly less great than the other 4 weeks we've been doing this.
Hey, me too. But I think we all have a reason for that.
Yeah, it's more of a reluctant great, actually. I'm still
It's a
great.
very reluctant
I'll always
great.
be doing great, or good, or whatever it is I respond to you normally with. I'm just in a different state of great this week.
I'm just not in a state of great at all.
Yeah,
I'm in
a lot of people aren't.
Why?
And for anyone that doesn't know why this is why we're talking like this, I really don't have anything to say to you. You should probably 100% know what we're going to be talking about. It's in the title of the video, for dang's sake.
It should be.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm good at my job, it will be. But either way, we're going to be talking about the election, which happened. Today's Thursday, so it happened 2 days ago?
It happens, remember this. Every year we have an election, it's going to be on a Tuesday.
That's what I thought. I knew it kind of lined up with video game releases, and that's how
Always
I think
Tuesday.
of things in life. A little peek into my tying in video games to the election, but still.
Well, I'm gonna throw this out there because we're gonna hit on this election first and foremost, and if we have time for anything else later, we'll throw it in there, probably very sloppily. But anyway, let's just get it out there. Let's accept it for what it is currently. We're gonna have President Trump.
Yes, Donald Trump is our president-elect.
That's what it is.
Won.
Now, I'm gonna shorten this part, but it's just gonna happen. Am I happy about it? No, not necessarily. In fact, not at all. But I'm willing to accept it at this point because there's not a lot you can do without getting in major trouble.
So before we talk about that, I think we need to put something out into the open and kind of explain both of ourselves. I'm sure we have different reasons. But first and foremost, both Chris and I did not vote on election night. It was our first year of registered ability to vote, and both of us decided against it. I don't know for different reasons. I just knew you didn't vote. I haven't heard why yet. But I guess we should probably both explain why we didn't vote so that we can not lose all credibility of what we're going to talk about immediately.
Okay, well, you go first.
Okay, well, I talked about it a little bit on Twitter when I made the decision, because I didn't make the decision to not vote until the day of, like the morning of, because I'm very opinionated on politics, on everything. I have to be, and so I was very kind of opinionated on what would make me vote versus not vote, because I had gone back and forth of, like, should I vote at all? There was a thing of, does my vote matter? In Ohio, it didn't, but it could have. They couldn't predict exactly how close the race would be. So that was something that went through my head of whether or not it would matter, whether or not I could vote, like, in a clear conscience, whether or not, like... there were so many different things that made me vote versus not vote. And the week of, I guess, of the election kind of set my mind on it, but the morning of is when I made the decision on, regardless of which way I voted, whether I voted for Clinton or for Trump or for neither, I couldn't do it with a clear conscience. Like, I couldn't say without a shadow of a doubt that placing my vote was what I believed and what I would place, like what I would accept had it won. Like, if I would have voted for Clinton, and Clinton would have won, there was nothing to tell me that in a week after that I would have sat down and said, dang it, I didn't really want to vote this way. Like, I'm actually not okay with the Clinton presidency. And same with Trump. If I would have voted for Trump, I mean, my reasoning for voting Trump had nothing to do with Trump himself. There was never a point where I was like, I think Trump is the better candidate. That never crossed my mind. But the idea of voting him did for other reasons that I'd also gone in depth on when it comes to the power of the presidency. But regardless, nothing could pull me to the conclusion of I can vote for this person with the utmost certainty that I will accept them winning over the other. And so in my mind, it made way more sense to just abstain. And I feel bad. I do still feel bad. I felt bad the day of. I felt bad the day after. I felt bad during the whole process. And even today, I still feel bad because it is an absolutely wonderful opportunity to have the ability to vote. Like, just being able to vote is exceptionally great. Like, it really makes me feel so much more American, even if I didn't. Like, it makes me feel so much more happy about my country that we have the ability to vote. But I felt that I was not, I guess, worthy. I was not able to accept such a great honor of voting. I felt like it wasn't my place to do. And on top of that, the other thing that made me think about voting was the local elections, because local elections are extremely important regardless of the presidential situation. But looking at it, we didn't have an entirely heavy set of referendum to vote on, and also we had a very clear-cut House winner in Tim Ryan, who will probably not lose any election that he is a part of. Tim Ryan is just a well of charisma and everything a voter wants. So hard to beat him. And then what did we have? Our senator Strickland lost.
Yeah,
or
Ted Strickland.
Portman lost. I can't remember who won. Did
Wait,
Portman
Portman
win?
lost?
I
Rob
think
Portman?
Portman lost.
I don't know. Honest to God. I wasn't
Crap.
paying attention to that.
Yeah, the names. I have to actually Google it now. The names bled together in my head.
There's Ted Strickland and there's Rob Portman.
Yeah, I knew who was running, but their names like. Oh crap. Okay, Portman won. Okay, gosh, wow. I knew
Portman won. Okay, Rob Portman won it.
Yeah, he won it relatively soundly, and then after looking up his stances on the issues and everything, I actually very much agree with that. I actually really like Rob Portman for his stances, at least the ones I read.
After this, I'm probably gonna look more into Rob Portman because I remember Ted Strickland vaguely, and I mean, like from what I heard, not everything he did was terrible, but a lot of it was terrible.
Yeah, it's not that he. I don't know. It didn't seem like he did an awful job as senator, because he was the returning, right? He was the guy who held. Yeah, it didn't seem like he was
we already had Ted Strickland.
It didn't seem like he was doing an awful job, but I'm very happy Rob Portman won because he seems like a really good person. He's one of the rare breeds of Republicans who is pro LGBT, and still like he's all the things that like Republicans like about Republicans, but he's not any of the things that make people hate Republicans. Like he's got good Christian morals and he's like a really nice Christian man, but he also is pro LGBT, and I didn't see his abortion stance, but a lot of the things, because I care more socially than economically at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I know nothing about economics, and I won't try to pretend like I do. But socially, I do know things, and I have a lot of passion for social politics. And it seems like socially he's really good. So that's why I didn't vote. I feel like people probably, from hearing the phrase "I didn't vote," will immediately shut both of us out, but I hope my explanation at least sheds a little bit of light on it.
That's okay. They can think of whatever my opinion, they can think whatever they want about my opinion. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm
gonna agree with me. That's okay.
Go in depth on that as well, on why opinions are great and everyone has them and they're all great. So, yeah.
Except if your opinion causes literal harm to other people.
As long as nobody is being legitimately harmed by your opinion,
then you're
congrats.
Fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
So, what was your reasoning, Chris? Why didn't you?
See, here's my thing, okay? I do a lot involving politics, okay? And it's often the thought that crosses my mind. Now, it's just my political philosophy that tells me that I shouldn't vote. Because it's not like that it won't matter or anything, because my vote will matter. And that's exactly why I don't. Because in my political belief, which is anarchism, a vote is just a way of subjugating yourself to the rule of someone else. And I didn't want to be a part of that. I don't want to subjugate myself to someone else. I want to rule myself. Second of all, and this is probably the most popular answer of why people didn't vote, I didn't like either of the candidates. I didn't like any of them. So, a lot of people say, well, just vote for the lesser of four evils, whatever. And I'm like, well, to me, there is no lesser. There's only equal evil, because they're all planning to do relatively the same thing with your lives, and that's to rule over them. No matter how they do it, they're still going to be ruling over you, and that's not something I advocate for. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, I totally understand that. I see some similarities in the overall reason of can't with confidence pick someone to vote for.
Yeah, I can't, with a good conscience pick someone.
Yeah.
Now, people actually ask me like if I were to pick someone, who would I have picked? And I actually had a really hard time answering that question because like from day one, I'm like, I'm not voting Trump. I can't do it. I can't. I don't like him. I don't like his policies. I don't like anything about him. Now, originally, I was just going to vote for Bernie.
Oh,
Bernie
yeah.
was a thing. Bernie was a popular choice. I
Yeah.
saw him, and it wasn't all bad.
Bernie felt like the least of all the evils.
Yeah, he did. And I was going to vote for him. And I did vote for him in the primaries. But
Smart.
when he lost, Hillary won the nomination, I started looking closer at third parties. People like Gary Johnson and Jill Stein. Now, for a while, I was on the Johnson train. And, after he said some of the stuff he said.
Yeah, after he put his foot and also the rest of him into his own mouth.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't.
Opinion soured.
I couldn't do it, and I mean, like, I feel like he had promise in the election if he just hadn't done that.
Yeah.
And Jill Stein, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I would have voted for her, but then she started saying some really stupid stuff. Like, she wanted to ban Wi-Fi and said that crystals were the only technology that we as Americans needed.
J.O.
And I'm
crystals?
Like, what?
Do you know what a J.O. crystal is?
No.
This is a not safe for work story, Mom. If you're listening, mute the audio. J.O. crystal is like this joke from the internet. I don't know if it was a real thing, but I think the joke came from Craigslist, where the J.O. crystal is a crystal that gives like power and energy, and it's charged by multiple dudes with.
I know what you're talking about now.
All with the crystal.
I get it.
J.O.
I know what that is. I thought you said geocrystal, like,
no.
Like geology. Okay,
no, like the
crystal.
Letters J and O.
Yeah, okay, listen. We're not going to go into
that's
what that
our
is,
energy source.
But all I'm going to say is browse Craigslist and you'll find it.
I love geocrystals. They're great.
You'll find it.
Yeah, that's all the energy American needs.
But anyway, speaking of third parties, I'd like to make kind of an announcement to anyone who voted third party. Okay, a lot of people all over social media right now are saying that people who voted third party wasted their vote. I would like to say, with the utmost confidence, you did not waste your vote.
It is impossible to do that.
Every vote counts for something, even if I don't agree with it.
It is
counts
literally
for something.
impossible to waste your vote. If you voted, you voted. The 15,000 people that voted for Harambe, they didn't waste their vote.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was my next thing. Okay, I'm surprised that 15,000 people woke up and voted for Harambe.
I'm not. I'm actually disappointed that, like, not more than 15,000
I mean, I expected more.
Yeah. Like, I was disappointed with the Harambe voter turnout.
Like, the thing is, with that, it's stupid. It's kind of pointless because it's a dead gorilla meme at this point. But it's really funny, and it would have been even funnier if he won.
Is the gorilla dead, or is the meme dead? I don't know what dead.
The gorilla's dead.
Memes.
The gorilla's dead.
The meme
is most certainly not dead.
It's been dead for months, and we love it.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's hilarious.
It's an eternal cycle. Harambe died, we mourn Harambe as a meme. The meme dies, we mourn the meme as a meme.
And we bring back the meme.
And so it continues.
So
the whole way this thing started was because something died. So the fact that the joke died just gives more fuel to the fire. We thrive on death.
And wouldn't you know it, got 15,000 votes for the president of the United States.
My hope is that he gets more next election, 2020.
Oh yeah.
I think he gets more. I think the joke is still alive in 2020.
It should be.
I think people will still be making Harambe jokes in 2020.
All right, another comedic thing to go with this wonderful election we have. So Trump won his presidency, of course.
Yeah, that's pretty comedic.
But keep in mind, about maybe a year ago, maybe less than that, Kanye West said he was going to run for president in 2020. That doesn't seem as bad anymore now, does it?
I'm going to keep my mouth shut on any Kanye West joke because the last two events I made jokes about happened. And so I don't want to make jokes because I'm afraid they'll happen.
But still,
remember when we joked about the Warriors blowing a 3-1 lead and then the Indians blew a 3-1 lead? Remember when we made fun of the Europe for Brexit and then we got Trump? I
that's a
can't
good
do it
point.
anymore. No more. No more jokes. Karma's out and hunting, and I don't like it. So I'm gonna keep my mouth shut about Kanye because I'm afraid.
Oh my god. Okay. That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm scared. I'm like genuinely scared.
Legitimately scared.
Because it keeps happening. Like we kept making jokes. We were like, haha, ha, the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead in the NBA Finals, and then they were like, oh, you like that, Cleveland? Boom, you can blow a 3-1 lead now too. And we were like, oh no. Even the Warriors made their 3-1 lead jokes, and then immediately the very next series they blew a 3-1 lead. Because the
And it's
Thunder blew a 3-1
absolutely
lead to
amazing.
the Warriors. So yeah, and then we were like, how could you be so stupid voting to leave the
Idiot.
European Union? Stupid Brexiters. And then they were like, oh yeah, here's Trump. And we were like, oh no.
Oh
Oh
well, look
gosh,
at
what have
that.
we done? Well,
Wait, did you
there's
hear? Did you hear about this?
Calexit.
What?
Did you hear about Calexit?
What?
California wants to branch off and be their own state or be their own country.
Oh my god, not this.
Yeah,
This isn't
Calexit,
what we
man.
need. Listen. They tried that in Family Guy and look how well that worked.
I mean, they're gonna break off and drown into the ocean anyway. Might as well like
Might as well do
break
it when you're
off
sovereign.
now. Yeah, might as well do it when you're still attached to the rest of the world.
Exactly. But no, there was oh god, there was another. Oh yeah, right. So after Colexit, we need to talk. I just want to talk about this. Since Trump was voted into office, the Queen of England decided to say, "Hey, you can always come back under British rule if you want." It's better than that guy.
I don't know, man. We fought a whole war to get away from that.
Yeah, see,
We
that's why
haven't
I'm
fought
not
any
totally
wars
on
for
board
Trump
with it.
yet.
I'm
Yet.
not on board yet.
I'm not gonna make any jokes about wars over Trump either, because that's
My
that's
friend
worse than
actually,
Kanye.
my friend's a history major, okay, and he said that following historical trends, we could easily have a civil war on our hands.
No.
I don't know.
I know nothing about history other than what they tell us in school, but I'm gonna go with the hard no on that one.
I'm gonna say maybe. I'm gonna say maybe.
Oh, also, I didn't
Very hard
preface with
maybe.
this. Any joke that I make about either candidate, whether except Gary Johnson, every Gary Johnson joke I've ever made on this show has been 100% serious.
Come
That
on,
man,
Gary,
that man
it's
is
a
a walking joke.
race.
That man is a walking joke, and I won't shy away from making fun of him. But any Trump joke, Clinton joke, any group of people joke that I make in relation to the election is 100% sarcasm, because I will get serious and I will make serious comments about it, all of it, and that is my opinion. My opinion is not in the jokes I make. My opinion is in, well, my opinion. So if if you get offended
It's an
by a
actual
joke I
opinion.
made, stop, reflect, laugh at it, move on. If you get offended
Just
by my
continue.
opinion, stop, reflect, be mad at me, move on.
Oh, yeah. Be mad, move
Yeah,
on. It's gonna
less
be okay.
laughter, more anger towards me.
Yes.
I accept that. If you disagree with me, let me know, and I'll be like, okay, why do you disagree, and we'll figure it out. Because that's how the world should work. If people
But it
disagree,
doesn't.
they should realize why they disagree and decide whether or not one person feels like their disagreement is suddenly less valid because the other person's disagreement makes sense, or they come to the agreement that they disagree and that they can still coexist, because we should all be able to coexist, because that's how the world works. Ugh. That was an actual opinion.
I love how, like, you know what? Here's what you need to do. Whenever it's an actual opinion, end it with, ugh.
Yeah, I'll probably end it with some kind of just exhaustion, because that's how I feel
Exhaustion.
about all this.
Exhaustion sound.
Yeah. I didn't say it when you said people were asking like who you would have voted for if you had to vote. I was mostly Clinton like the whole time, because in my head the idea of someone who has governmental background and political background, regardless of how shady as a person they are, everyone in politics is shady as a person. So in my head, the idea of someone who has political experience would make a better president than a guy who hosted a business-related TV show.
Yeah.
I know Trump did more. That's a joke. There's no exhaustion after that one. I know Trump did more, all right? I know he did a lot of things. I actually genuinely have real respect for Donald Trump as a human being. Like, more than you know, I have a lot of respect for the man. But he did just host The Apprentice.
See, here's the thing with me and Donald Trump. I don't like him. I can vaguely respect him as a human being, but here's my problem with him running in the presidential election and somehow winning. Like, a lot of Trump supporters were saying, oh, Hillary's a snake and a cutthroat because she's in politics. What do you think business is? It's all cutthroat.
That is true. That is most of what business is.
Like that's exactly why Trump did so well in the polls, because he was also trained in being a cutthroat.
Yeah, and well, they were both doing it. They were both playing to their strengths and playing to their audience. You could tell from both of them. Like, that's all they did was just appeal to the masses, and it worked in Trump's favor. Clinton tried a little too hard. Trump went the cool guy with his stupid baseball cap, making jokes at the dinner table, making fun of mom's cooking. That was his stance, and it worked much better than Hillary, who I don't know what movie or TV show it's from, but have you ever seen like the GIFs or the clips of Steve Buscemi in like a high school trying to dress up like one of the high schools?
Hi-ho, fellow kids.
Yeah, that's what Hillary tried to do, and that failed. As compared to the just stupid baseball cap making jokes about mom's cooking at the dinner table stance that Trump took. It worked much more in his favor.
But see, here's the thing. I once saw, like I said, they're both cutthroats. But with me, and because Hillary has a political background, to me, Hillary's just kind of like the devil that you know. Yeah, it's going to be bad, but you kind of know what you're in for.
Yeah, it's been bad for years.
With Trump, you don't know. And that's what scares me, among, several things. But that's one of the main things that scares me. I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So, well, leading up to the election, I felt the same way. And then on, like, about a few days before the election, I talked to a lot of people with all different kinds of opinions. Literally, I think I've talked to every, like, generalized group of both supporters. Like, I've talked to Hillary or bust, like, really offensive Hillary supporters that I didn't want to listen to because they were too pro-Hillary. They didn't want to see anything else. I talked to people who were like that. I talked to Bernie or busters, which that was post-Bernie losing. Really interesting conversation, Bernie or busters. I talked to logical Hillary supporters. I talked to logical Trump supporters, and I talked to crazy Trump supporters. I talked to everything, like, and I got opinions from all of them because I really genuinely wanted to take into what I was going to vote. And about a few days before the election, I talked to some people who weren't Trump supporters, but they were voting Trump not because of the man. I got the quote from one of them of both of them are morally awful. Like, both candidates are morally terrible. But when it comes to their stances versus the power they have as the president, they said that Trump is going to bring people on that they would rather have bring on than the people that Hillary would bring on, specifically in the Supreme Court, because this is a big election in that we had 2 Supreme Court openings, right? There are 2 vacancies in the Supreme Court, which is quite a few considering how long people are in the Supreme Court for. So they were voting for Trump because they liked who Trump would be bringing on as Supreme Court justices. And that made me think, and that ultimately led to why I didn't vote. But while watching the election unfold and seeing Trump slowly pull out to a victory, my mind was pretty much made up, because I came to the final conclusion that I would have voted for Hillary had I have gone and voted. Again, it wouldn't have made much of a difference, hindsight being 2020. At the time, if I would have thought the way I thought post-election, I would have voted Hillary. But Ohio is very strangely Trump, and that's weird to me, but whatever. The thing that made me decide that, though, was at the end of the day, it's really hard. It takes a long time to make an effect on a government as a president. Like, positively, negatively, it does take a decent amount of time. Like, Obamacare took practically Obama's whole, like, eight years, like, both terms, for him to finally get it going. And so the idea that one of them could do something insane was pretty much out of the question to me. But while it takes a while to do something that takes like work and to go by the rules, it takes 2 seconds to get angry, say something stupid, and break ties with an entire nation. As we saw in the Philippines, the leader of the Philippines, much crazier than Trump. Trump is a very tame guy compared to the leader of the Philippines, but he gets mad, he says something to Obama that's like rude. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said like Obama was an idiot or an asshole or something, and suddenly we aren't helping the Philippines anymore. We have cut ties with the Philippines. And so while it takes forever to make a change like that, it takes 2 seconds to break a tie with a nation, and I think Trump is way more likely to do that. While I don't think he'll do it, I think if you had to put it into a percentage, Trump has a higher percent chance of doing that than Hillary, and that's what made me think I would have voted Hillary.
See, here's the thing with me and why, in like thinking post-election, if I had voted, I would have voted for Hillary. It's because my dad and I were talking, and he said, Trump's the only one supporting white workers. And I'm like, yeah, Hillary's supporting everyone else. Like, I'm sorry. Us as, like, middle-class white males with jobs, we already have a lot of rights.
We won't be affected by anything that Trump does. Not negatively, at least.
Exactly.
We probably wouldn't have been affected by anything Hillary did either. I don't think our demographic of people are going to be affected by anything from this election. No. And that's part of the problem, is this lack of seeing the other side of it. Because we know we're not going to be affected, it makes more sense to vote Trump. Trump's got brighter plans for people like us.
Yeah.
Like, in theory, what Trump's going to do is going to help us more than what Clinton's going to do. But I don't care about that, because helping me isn't what I need out of the U.S. I don't care for the U.S. to help me. I don't need help.
Yeah, like...
There are people that
like I
need
said,
help.
Middle class, white male with either a job or schooling, okay? We have that. What we don't have, that a lot of other people do, is a lot of prejudice against us.
Exactly.
For example, like, I want to point out one group that's been targeted by Republicans for the past 4 years, and that's the LGBT community, okay? They have a lot of people working against them simply because of their sexual orientation.
Exactly.
Now, the problem with it is just because it's something that these people don't quite understand, you know? It's like, oh, this is weird. I don't want my children to see these weird things. I'm going to say no because that's weird. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And and not the thing is, like, these people actually have physical violence pit against them. They're actually being assaulted in the street. Do you see white people getting assaulted in the street normally?
Yes.
Okay, normally.
This week, yes.
This week, yes, but I said normally.
I'm going to get serious on that after you're done talking.
Yeah, because I know what's happening this week. I've seen it. And before I go on, that's not right either. That's not a good thing to happen.
No, we would never advocate that.
No, that's not okay. But, see, I feel like, now that we brought it up, the people getting beaten in the street this week, this is kind of a taste of what they've been dishing out to these people for the past few years. Is it right? No.
Yeah.
No. Right? Like, 2 wrongs don't make a right. But I hope that to these people it's becoming clear, Like, oh, this is happening to me. I don't want this to happen to me, so why am I doing it to them, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, there's a guy on Twitter, I don't remember his name, but he did a bit of a tweet storm about the election and his thoughts after it happened, and he made the really, really great point of speaking to white Americans that supported Hillary. And he said, if you woke up this morning and you saw the results of the election and you suddenly felt like an outsider in your own country, or you felt like, how could this have happened? Or why does it feel like the system didn't work for me? Like, if you felt any of those things, that's what minorities and that's what people who have been discriminated against have been feeling like for years, forever. And he's like, this is a terrible way for it to happen, but we kind of need this for you to, if you're ever going to be able to connect with minorities, this is the time. This is the time where we're all America. Like, this is the time where you can see what exactly has been going on, and hopefully we can develop some sympathy and some empathy and start working towards change. And that was really profound. And I feel like it should also be mentioned. I saw a lot of stories that really just made me mad. in regards to all sides. And so I feel like I need to make it very well known, if you're listening to me, uh, that every group has every type of person. Like, not one group is all good, all bad, all whatever. There's going to be people like the man that was beaten specifically because a group of black people thought he was a Trump supporter, so they beat him. There's going to be people like that. There's going to be people that are going to be more racist because Trump won, and they think that Trump's stance is racism, and they're going to bring out their bigotry, they're going to bring out their racism. There's going to be people that support Trump and yet understand that we're still Americans and we need to work as Americans, and they're going to reach out and try to help the people that lost this election and try to bring them in and understand that we're all Americans. And there's going to be people that supported Hillary that are going to say, okay, we may have lost, but we have to accept that we lost and work on how we can better America under these circumstances. There's going to be good people, bad people. There's going to be all types of people from all types of groups. So if you're sitting there and you're saying, oh man, if you're a Trump supporter that sits there and says, oh, everyone thinks all the liberals are going crazy, they all think I'm suddenly racist because I support Trump, that's not it. There are going to be people that think you're racist because you support Trump. They're wrong. It's whatever. Let it slide. That's what opinions are. It's not hurting you. Let them have their opinion. But understand that that's not all liberals. That's not all anti-Trump people. That's not all anything. And on the other side, if you're a Clinton supporter and you're like, oh man, all these, like Trump's going to make things awful. Like all these people are going to make things awful. Not all of Trump supporters are going to make things awful. Are some going to? Sure. But there are going to be some that are going to be able to help, and they're going to try and unite us as America, because in theory, on paper, the phrase "make America great again," that's what its goal is to bring us together. Is Trump pushing it like that? No. Don't get me wrong. I don't like what that phrase has become. But in theory, the phrase "make America great again" is good. It's what we want. So don't generalize, I guess. Millions of people like have been saying, oh, just be nice to each other, be sympathetic, see it from everyone's side. And that's all good and good stuff. But don't generalize. Just whatever you do, don't generalize, because I'm seeing all kinds of generalizations, and it's only making things worse, and it will only continue to make things worse. So just please see, the only thing you can generalize is that all people are people. That's it. Like, no one opinion is shared by everyone. So please, if you're listening, don't generalize anything, and just understand that we're still America. I posted that on my Snapchat the morning after the election. I took a picture of like this beautiful fall scenery, and I said, good news, still America. Because it is. It's still America, and it'll always be America unless China comes and says, hey, you owe us billions of dollars, trillions of dollars.
And
we're gonna make
nukes.
we're gonna make you China now. Congratulations, you're China. But until then, we are America. So
surprise.
yeah, please don't generalize. It drives me crazy to see people doing things like that, because it shouldn't happen. We should still be America. And the other thing, this one's a shorter opinion, so that you can start talking again, Chris. But Trump. Let's list all the terrible things Trump has done since he's taken or won the presidency. I'll list them for you. 1, nothing. Nothing. Has he done terrible things on the campaign trail? Yes. Has Clinton done terrible things on the campaign trail? Yes. Did Bernie do terrible things on the campaign trail? To a lesser extent, because he didn't have as much time. But yes, they all did. Everyone did. That's how it works. But Trump has yet to do anything to make our minds up. Could he surprise us? Hell yeah. He could totally come out and just enjoy the role. To phrase it greatly, I don't think you've watched House of Cards, have you, Chris?
No.
Well, in House of Cards, Kevin Spacey's character is a dick. He's corrupt. He's a bad person. That's pretty much how it goes. He's out for himself. He uses politics for his own personal gain. It's how he does it. But as a president, because he was, spoiler alert, he was a president at some point in the show. I'm not going to say when or for how long or if he still is. Just at one point, know that Kevin Spacey's character was president. He didn't do anything bad for America. All of his shadiness and all of his bad personness was behind the scenes for himself. But as a president, he knew what he needed to do as a president to keep people on his side. Is that really great and suddenly make Trump seem like a wonderful guy if he were to do the same thing? No, he'd still be a terrible person. But if he's technically doing good things for us so that we don't hate him, is that really that bad? That's the most uplifting thing I can give you, is that is he going to do stupid stuff? I don't know. He could. He probably could. But we shouldn't burn at the stake the man that 50 million Americans decided should be in power. We shouldn't burn him at the stake until we have a good enough reason to. Because if we burn him at the stake right now, we're shutting out 50 million Americans. And
we're basically becoming what he is.
Yeah, you may say, oh, but Trump supporters are shutting out all the minorities, so they're shutting out even more than 50 million Americans. Why is your response to that? Oh, yeah, let's shut them out too. Yeah. It's like if you were a parent and you argued with your child and he ran to his room and slammed his door, and as a response, you walked up to your room and slammed yours twice and even louder than his. What did you accomplish? You just made a lot more noise. Nothing was accomplished. You just went to their level. Like, or if you assumed he slammed his door, so you go up and you slam your door, but in reality something just fell when he was walking up the stairs. Like, you suddenly just looked like an idiot, assuming that he did something awful, and so you just slammed your door a bunch of times for no good reason. That analogy actually came out a lot better than I thought going into it. Yeah, don't be a stupid parent.
There you go. Parent correctly. And okay, here's what I gotta say about this. The people, and I wanted to talk about this anyway. So there's two kinds of people that don't like Trump right now. Well, actually, there's three, but there's two I'm going to talk about. Those who are protesting and those who are rioting, okay? Protesting is a totally different thing. I'd like to point it out. And to me, they have a right to protest. I mean, if they don't like something in their government, they have a right to say something about it.
Yeah, that's kind of why we're America.
And they're doing so in a lawful way. Now, keep in mind, these protesters, though they are peaceful, are burning American flags. However, keep in mind that there was a court case which said that this is legal and okay.
Yeah, it's perfectly legal. Is it stupid? Yeah, a little bit. But it's legal. Let them do it. It's not hurting anybody.
To be fair and totally honest, I'd do it too. But that's beside the point. There's a difference between the protesters and the rioters, in that the rioters think that this violent way of shutting out Trump is some sort of a preemptive strike against what he's going to do. Even though, to be fair, we don't know what he's going to do.
He hasn't done anything yet.
He hasn't done anything yet. Now, I'll be fair. In the early hours of him getting his presidency, I was really hot-headed too. I not almost did something like this, but I thought about doing things just the same as these rioters are doing. But as time rolled on, and I, started to rationalize everything, I realized, but why is that a good idea? Because if I do something totally rash and stupid to take down Trump before he does anything at all, that would be doing exactly what we're afraid he's going to do.
Exactly.
Now, like you said, if he gives me enough of a reason, I will tear down his administration piece by piece.
Yeah, if he's a bad president, go ahead and say he's a bad president. That's how democracy works.
I'll rip it apart. But by that point, I'll have a good reason to.
Exactly.
Okay. Right now, I don't have a reason to. All he did at this point during his presidency was get elected.
Yeah.
That's all he's done so far.
Yeah. And his acceptance speech was actually somewhat okay for me. Some of the things that he said, obviously these could all be disingenuous things that he's just saying to calm everyone down. Yeah. But he would say things like, I'm gonna bring people together, we're one country and I plan on making it one country. He did give this message of unity, which was really good. And another thing that caught my ear was how he said, the campaign trail is rough. A lot of the stuff that I did during that time was rough. Basically saying, the campaign trail makes everyone look bad. It'll forever make everyone look bad, but I'm here to prove otherwise. Is that true? I have no idea, but it's reassuring for him to say, the campaign trail is a tough place. It's hard to deal with, because it is. And so that was somewhat reassuring to me.
And to be fair, a lot of the propaganda against Trump. Okay, you know what? Let me rephrase that. Some of the propaganda against Trump during his road on the campaign trail was a bit edited, and it was not correct. For
Yeah,
example, in the last days, all right, they had videos of him, quote unquote, promoting violence against minorities. Get him out of here, beat him up, like give him a good thrashing, will ya? And it showed like their rally members beating up black people. But I'd like to point out that this phrase that he said, kick him out, give him a good thrashing, that was actually towards a person who was making trouble at his rally, and it was one of his supporters.
yeah,
Because he's like, man, I don't want that. I don't want to see that. That's not cool. That's not
yeah.
okay.
I had a lot of problems with it during the whole election of people taking cheap shots at a man who has plenty of non-cheap shots that can be taken.
Yeah.
People like fabricating things or making things out to be ridiculous when they were perfectly normal and there's nothing wrong with them, which was annoying to me because it's like, if there's a guy who has blood on his hands and a dead body next to him, you're not going to go up to him and say, hey, I bet that guy likes the Golden Girls and he watches marathons of the Golden Girls because he's a sissy. It's like, no, talk about how he just murdered a man. Do you see the guy that he just murdered? Talk about that. Yeah, but
You literally caught him red-handed.
I bet he has all the High School Musical movies on DVD and Blu-ray. I bet he uses Blu-ray, and it's like nobody uses Blu-ray, but that doesn't even matter. He killed a man. Talk about that. And like, yeah,
it's like that. This is the pressing issue. Like, for example, like with Trump and God even knows. Oh, he said this in 1970, whatever.
That was funny to me too.
Like, how about we talk about the fact
Yeah.
that this guy has an idea to build a wall between us and Mexico?
Yeah.
Because that seems like a more pressing
end up
issue to
doing
me.
it. Something tells me he won't do it, and I really hope he doesn't. Yeah, that was funny to
I
me,
hope
though,
he doesn't.
that he had all these terrible things that he said and did during the campaign, but the one that, like, really seemed to have broken him and sent him into a downward spiral was something that happened, like, 11 years prior.
Yeah.
It's like, why are we going that far back in time? Did you hear what he said yesterday? Like, I made the analogy at the time to someone where I said, it's like when you meet a girl for the first time and you hit it off and you're like really getting along, and then you go to like her Facebook and it's like from years ago she said some really shady stuff and you're like, oh man, that's a little weird, but you go and talk to her like the next day and you go on like a real date with her and you're like, well, maybe she's changed, and then you go and she's like the same, says like similar things, and you're like, oh, I guess she hasn't changed, I'm gonna make my decision. It's like that but in reverse.
It's like
yeah, it's like if you like got to know this girl and she was like really nice, and for 5 years you guys were like together and happy, and then someone shows you a Facebook post she made in 2006 where she says the N-word and you're like, she's racist, and you dump her. It's like that's ridiculous. Couldn't you just look at all this stuff
recently? Who cares?
Yeah, like she hasn't said it. Or yeah, it's like if she had been saying it, but the straw that breaks the camel's back is the one from '06. It's like, couldn't you just not have a problem with the things that she said in the last few years that you've known her? You're gonna pick this 10-year-old thing? I still think what he said was awful. Don't get me wrong, it was a terrible thing, and I'm glad it was a story, and I'm glad it weighed him down. But it felt weird that all the other stuff that he did wasn't as big of a story and didn't weigh him down as much as this.
Yeah, here's something else I'd like to point out. There was a big thing going on in the last days of the not the nominations, but like during the election. And one of the things was like, well, if you Trump supporters don't have to worry about his sexual assault comments, then I don't have to worry about her emails. And, it's kind of like, oh, you don't get to worry about that? Well, I don't have to worry about this. How about that? It's even.
I don't know what to say to that. I think I've already said a counter, or not a counter, but like an explanation to that like 6 times in different words. So I'm just gonna laugh at it because my goodness.
Because like that was an argument.
Yeah, it was, and I love it because it's hilarious. It's hilarious in the stupidest way possible.
Yeah, but here's something that's truly concerning me. Early on, you heard a lot of people say, if Trump gets elected, I'm going to kill that guy, etc.
Yeah, please don't.
Yeah, and not for the reason I'm gonna say. Like, our reasons are probably very different about why they shouldn't do that.
That's concerning to me, but okay. As long
No,
as we get to the same conclusion.
listen. First of all, you shouldn't kill anyone
Yeah, please.
outright.
Don't
But
don't murder.
But I mean, at the same time, it's Trump, so I mean, I can kind of understand the hostility. Anyway, if Trump does die in some sort of assassination attempt, it's not that someone killed him that's gonna worry me. It's about Pence getting the presidency.
Yeah, like that's
Because
not.
that guy's insane, man.
Yeah, that's not something you want.
No.
Don't think killing him solves the problem. It only makes it just as bad, if not worse.
Oh, it makes it a lot worse. Hang on. I need to point this out.
Isn't Pence the guy that wants conversion therapy?
Okay, you know what? Let me go into detail.
On gay people?
This is great. This is great to me because this is what happens if Trump gets assassinated, everybody.
It's like
This is
concentration
the
camps
guy.
for gay people.
This is the guy that's going to get put in office, okay? What you want to, figure out about this guy. He's pro-conversion therapy. So, basically, you can turn gay people straight and trans people cis again.
Yeah.
By medical. But here's the thing. You want to know one way he thinks is actually going to work?
Yeah. Say it. I don't remember.
Electroshock therapy.
Yep, that's what it was. Yeah. So,
basically,
here's the thing.
what was used to cure mental patients in the 1920s, which they outlawed.
Conversion therapy has a 100% success rate. Either they get straight again or they kill themselves. So, woo!
Yeah, exactly. So, if that's the guy that's going to be in office if Trump dies, then I don't know what to tell you, man. Yeah. All I'm saying is Trump can be talked out of something that crazy. Yeah, he's crazy, and I don't like his policies, and he's kind of a nut job, but he's not like a Pence-level nut job.
I feel like this is a gaming joke, so if you don't know gaming, you probably won't get it. But I feel like Pence could have made a really great mask in Majora's Mask, the Zelda game. I feel like just his face and then, like, what it would do would just fit the game so perfectly. Because it would make you look just downright like a crazy old man, and then you'd also be, like, really bigoted and, like, out of your mind. Yeah. It would fit perfectly into Majora's Mask. I don't know how many dungeons it could get you out of. Probably none of them. But, man, would it be interesting.
Oh, yeah. But see, that's why I'm worried about all these people saying they're gonna like get rid of Trump or something, because what you're gonna get afterwards is only gonna be worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I actually have friends. I have a couple friends. I'll say half of them are gay and half of them are trans. Okay. And one of my trans friends, he was freaking out because of what Pence's plan was, and he was afraid that Donald Trump would actually go through with it. And this just absolutely terrified him. Because, I just want to live. I just want to, go to school, go to work, and just do regular people things.
Yeah, I'd love to be people.
Love to be a person. It's all I want to be. But they can't let me be that. I have to be what they tell me I be.
Don't let anyone try and stop you from peopling. You have the right to people.
You have the right to. Whoa, that actually sounds really bad.
Oh yeah, you have the right to. You have the right to person.
You have the right to be person.
Yeah, you have the right to be person.
You have the right to.
You don't.
Be person.
You don't have the right to people. You have the right.
Because that's.
You
slavery.
have the. Yeah, it's all about the pronunciation. You have the right to people, but you don't have the right to people.
Listen, hear me out now. If you want to hear something like that, go listen to Hal Turner. Hal Turner's a crazy dude.
That's good.
No. You ever heard of Hal Turner, Steve?
I haven't.
Okay, Hal Turner's this guy.
I hear he's a crazy dude.
Yeah, he's crazy. he has a nationally syndicated radio show, okay? This guy is practically a neo-Nazi. He says that the 13th Amendment was not ratified correctly, and you can still own black people as slaves. And that, to me, is absolutely insane. How was it ratified wrong?
Yeah, I don't think he's right in that. But it is funny to mention that, wasn't it in one of the states, it wasn't actually passed until 2005?
Wait, really?
Yeah, I remember hearing that story that there was a state that slavery was technically illegal up until the 2000s.
Wow.
And I think the only reason they caught it was from a movie.
Wait,
I don't
what
remember.
movie?
Don't quote me on it because I only remember the very bare bones of the story, so I can't say for without a doubt that it's fact, but I think it is. I don't feel like googling it.
And Google. I don't have the time for you
Yeah,
right now.
Google it on your own time.
Yeah,
Don't expect us to fact check everything we say. I fact check everything we say. This is the one thing I'm
I do
not.
this.
Yeah, this is the one thing I'm not fact checking because.
But another thing I wanted to touch on since this election thing was, a total madhouse and a total
Yeah,
gold mine for topics. I swear to God.
yeah, it's perfect. We should get final thoughts in. You can give this and then any other final thought you have, and then I'll give my
I have
final
like
thought.
two, and I can shorten them really quick.
Okay, sweet.
So the first one is our wonderful system of voting, which is the president has decided by the number of votes he gets in the electoral college.
Oh yeah, that is important to talk about.
And I'd like to say that this happened in 2000 between Gore and Bush, and it's happened to us once again. And it's simply Hillary won the popular vote, but Trump still won the electoral college vote. So in this case, Hillary, more people that voted wanted Hillary, but that didn't matter at the end of the day because those few people that represent us, quote unquote, chose Trump. Now,
Yeah.
this is why I don't like democracy. This is one reason I don't like it. Because even though the majority of the people are crying for someone else, they pick the terrible option.
So while I do think it's strange that the person that got more votes didn't win,
Yeah.
I heard someone's explanation as to why it makes sense, and it like really it settled the issue for me because a lot of Hillary's votes, and I do mean a lot, came from like just California.
Okay.
Because California is like one of the biggest states, and so the idea that California can have such a huge impact on the vote like is kind of rough to deal with. Like a state like Rhode Island, which has I think the least population. I know it's the smallest state, but it probably also has the least population.
Yeah.
A state like Rhode Island gets like no say in it whatsoever because the few thousand votes that they get is nothing in comparison to the multi-million amount of votes that a state like California or Texas gets.
Now I see how that works and what you're saying, but at the same time, that is also shown in the electoral college because California, you have a lot of electoral college votes, like you have a lot of people.
Yeah,
And
but
in
the
Rhode
difference
Island, you don't.
the difference between 55 votes and one vote is a lot more or a lot less significant than the difference between 2 to 3 million votes and 800,000 votes.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
I see how it makes sense, but at the same time, I don't like how that works. It doesn't seem right to me, and I think the person who gets the popular vote, even if that's how it works, if it's the popular vote, they should be the one that gets elected. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I think it can be better than electoral college, but I do think electoral college is better than popular vote. One of the theories I heard is tiered voting, like ranked voting almost, where instead of voting for one person, you vote in order of who you would want.
Okay.
But a counter argument to that is the only way that would work is if we had more than two legitimate parties, which will never happen.
Yeah, good luck. Well, technically,
as much as I would love for that to happen.
I was about to say that the independent party was a thing, and it is a thing, but it's not a main thing.
Yeah, it's a party,
almost a third party.
But the people that were independents were not part of the independent party.
No, they're not.
They were libertarian and green and dead gorilla.
And dead gorilla.
Yeah.
Not to mention, we do have things like the Nazi Party in America. We have the Communist Party in America.
That's certainly a thing.
Though you're not really going to find their names on the ballot.
Nope.
But that's just that. Anyway, to wrap up this whole election talk, so we have a little bit of time to squeeze other stuff. The real majority vote that showed exactly who people wanted as president was nobody. And that's simply because out of the entire American population eligible to vote, it came out to about 47% did not vote. Now, that may be for a multitude of reasons. Maybe they didn't get to the polls in time. Maybe they forgot. Maybe, like me, they just didn't want to because everyone sucked. But I mean, that's the majority rule. And I think, me personally, that the majority of the population's opinion should be the one they listen to. And in that case, there should be no president at this point. It's crazy, yeah. It's a very radical idea, and it might not work.
Yeah.
But
I think I'd take my chances with Trump over just declaring no one winning.
But hear me out. Like, there were so many people that decided, no, can we just please not have to deal with this anymore, please? And I think that should be taken into consideration to some degree.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not listened to or, put into action, even though, to me, that'd be cool. But thought about, like, take it into consideration for a minute.
At the end of the day, Trump got multiple occasions where a majority of people voted for him over other people. So as ridiculous and crazy as it all seems, he did technically fairly win multiple votes.
Yeah.
And so the idea to just declare it nobody is a little
nope,
unfair. Also, I fact-checked you earlier. It wasn't 47, it was 43%.
It was 43?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah, the 47 was off of the wrong math.
That's still more of the percentage than Trump got.
Yeah. Well, is it? Well, yeah. Yeah, in terms of Americans, Trump would have gotten somewhere close to 20, 26.
27. 26?
Somewhere in the the
something
upper 20s.
Like yeah.
If I had to
and Hillary would have gotten something similar.
Yeah, closer to 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, so, just, think about it for a minute. And if you don't agree with it, that's fine. I mean, it's just something that not a lot of people think about.
Yeah. It was true that less people voted in this election versus last and the one before. While I do think the idea of Obama being the first African-American president was way more appealing than Hillary being the first female president, which has a good indication as to why more people went out and voted. It is still slightly disheartening that less people voted, which I know I can't say that because I didn't vote, so I don't get a voice. And it's like,
no, you get a voice.
Yeah, I know. I heavily disagree with people who say stuff like that, because I've seen a lot of people who it's like, if you're complaining about Trump and you didn't vote, you're not allowed to complain. And it's like, no, I am definitely allowed to complain. That's what free speech is, I'm pretty much allowed to complain.
I didn't vote for him. This ain't my fault.
I chose not to use my voice on election day. That doesn't mean you can choose for me to not let me use my voice ever again. I can use my voice whenever I want, and I chose not to use it on election day, so I will choose to use it if I see fit down the road. So, yeah, that's one of my angry points on people who say stuff like that. But this is my real angry point. I've been holding this in, and I was saving it for the last thing I wanted to say, and there's no better time to say it. I will only directly be angry and outraged at one group of people in this whole election. While I can be angry at the people who are racist and bigoted and things like that, those are natural things that I will always be angry against and hate, so that's just whatever. But the one group that I will openly denounce and can't stand are the people who use the phrases such as, not my president, or like, he can be your president, Trump, he's not my president, Trump, or they're out there protesting the idea of him being the president in the first place, or not protesting, but rioting, I guess, against him being the president in the way that trying to say, oh, well then we'll just have a different president. Whether you like it, hate it, anything in between, Donald Trump is the president of the United States. Well, he will be. He is the president-elect of the United States. Obama's still our president. But Donald Trump will be the president. There is nothing that you personally can do. There is nothing that you personally should do. Just sit back and please accept the fact that democracy has chosen what democracy has chosen. Don't try to be some kind of hero that steps up and says, well, I'm going to stand against it. I'm going to uprise. You have the right to not be happy with democracy, but democracy works for you. You may not agree with that, but that's just the fact that you don't agree with that is democracy working. Like, it makes me so mad. The thing that made me the angriest and made me actually want to talk about this was the quote unquote letter from Leslie Knope on the election. Apparently, some Parks and Recreation writers wrote a sum up of the election from the point of view of Leslie Knope. I don't know if you've watched Parks and Recreation.
Not really.
It's Amy Poehler's character. She's like, she works for the government of Pawnee, Indiana, and she's like really quirky or whatever. But the whole thing was like, it was pretty heartfelt. It was pretty cool because I watched the show and I liked the character, and it was really nice stuff. And then it led into a point where it was like, we're going through the multiple stages of grief, which is denial and then acceptance and all doubt, and I don't know what all the things were, but
denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance.
Yeah, so she went through the first four, or the writer went through the first four, and then got to acceptance, and then went, you know what? I'm not gonna accept it. I'm not gonna accept that this is what's happened. I'm not gonna accept that we were fueled by hatred to pick this man, and that we're a country of hatred, and that pissed me off. This wonderful, heartfelt letter turned into this awful thing that we should not be saying. This is not... If you have the opinion of, we're not going to accept this election result because we don't want to accept hatred, you are becoming hatred. That's what you're doing. You are becoming what you hate. Like... I don't even know the best way to phrase this because I'm just... Like, it so irks me.
I'll comment on this. And it's simply... Here's... Like, I am in the middle of what you're saying because, like... I don't like this presidency. I do want to fight against the presidency. But at the same time, I accept that at this point and at this juncture, he is the president.
Exactly.
But here's what I'm going to do. As, you know, this is my political stance. I will fight against his presidency and any wrongdoing that it does. Because that's my right. Like, if I see wrongdoing, I'm going to fight against it. But saying, like, I'm going to fight against his just presidency and the fact that he is now the president, that doesn't make sense because he won and he's the president now. That's exactly it. Like, that's it.
If you don't like the fact that he won, you are welcome not to like the fact that he won. You are welcome to try and not necessarily find a way to stop it because it's going to be a thing, but you are welcome to prepare yourself for bad situations. Like, I'm not saying stand aside, speak up when he does something wrong. That's not necessarily what I'm saying. Definitely speak up if he does something wrong, but I'm not saying, like, oh, just step aside until he does something wrong, because I see the flaw in that reasoning. But specifically to the people who said, not my president, the only thing that makes him not your president is if you leave the country. So if you think he's not your president, please do us all a favor and leave the country. We don't want people like you in our country. That's my only grief, my only grievance, my only anger, and it's an irritant.
Another thing I want to say on it, and it's simply
drives me crazy.
There's only one reason they're really doing that, and it's not because he won. It's because that these same people who voted for Trump kept saying about Obama, not my president, and it's just a petty thing now. It doesn't matter. Too. It's like it's because they were in the wrong too, and like just because like these people. They don't like Trump, they're going to do it too. Like, it's basically that child-parent thing you mentioned earlier.
Exactly.
The only thing you're doing is stooping down to their level.
If you're American and someone is the president of the United States of America, they are, in fact, your president.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do other than leaving the USA to make that not your president anymore. So, yeah. Do that. If you really don't want him to be your president, leave. That's the only advice I can give. Also, this one's more joking and less seriously. If your reasoning as to why you voting for Trump makes you not racist is also because you voted for Obama, that's like saying you're not racist because you have like 5 black friends. And I mean that seriously. It's a joke, but it's a serious joke.
It's a joke, but I mean,
it's not to say voting Trump automatically makes you racist, but the excuse of I also voted Obama is the worst way to
It's like, yeah, I
to
voted for a
deny
black
it.
guy. Great.
Yeah,
That's
I
fantastic.
can't
That
be
doesn't matter.
racist. I voted for a black guy once. It's like, so who
Once.
cares? It doesn't make a difference. Doesn't
All
matter.
right.
Not to say that you would be racist. Like, I'm not saying if you voted Trump, you're racist. That's pretty far from the truth. What makes you racist is being racist. Your
Yeah.
way to stop people from saying that you're racist is to say, well, I mean, I'm not, and that's it. That's the only thing I can say to you. But if you try to justify it and say,
only way to-
I voted Obama too, it's like,
Oh
who
my God.
cares?
No, listen. The only way to tell your friends that you're not racist and make it true is to, quite simply, not be racist.
Yeah, like literally.
And believe it or not, like contrary to popular belief, we are not living in the 1960s, and it's not hard to not be racist. It's really easy.
It's actually quite simple.
It's very simple, and all you have to do is just treat people the way you'd want to be treated. It's the golden rule on a national level.
Yeah, you see a person over there? They're just a person. Move on.
See that person over there?
Aren't they
have
super
just as many
people-y?
rights as you do. Shut up.
Doesn't that person look super person-y? Yeah? Move on. Go about your day. Did that person kill your family? No? What's your problem? What did they do?
So yeah, I love that. Did that person kill your family? No? Then what's your problem?
Did that
I don't
person
get it.
kill your family? Yes? Do something about it. Deal
Fine,
with it.
do something about it. Call the police, beat the crap out of them, do something.
In that regards, you are welcome to stand aside until someone kills your family. You're not welcome to stand aside until Trump does something wrong, but in the case of someone killing your family, feel free to step aside. I would really not wish on anyone to plan for the moment when someone murders their whole family.
But still.
You can have a book of things to do if Trump messes up. Please don't have a book of things to do if someone were to happen to murder your family. That's just weird. That's just creepy. I'm not on board with that idea.
That's terrible. You're terrible. I love it.
Yeah. I've had so many great just exchanges with people because I've been so indifferent over everything, because I don't support or denounce Trump or Clinton. I've been able to be really like funny throughout this whole thing. My favorite being me and my brother were talking during the election as it was happening, and my brother supported Clinton. And he was sending me some texts back and forth. And one text he sent me was like, if you're wondering how I look right now, just picture that episode of SpongeBob where they all go to the future and Squidward cowers in the corner where he's going, future.
Future.
And my response to him was, yeah, but I'd rather have the world be all chrome than have a Trump presidency. And then later when Trump started winning, he just sent me the text, everything is bad. And I responded with, and significantly less chrome than I had hoped. And then I sent that exchange to someone else, and they were like, that's probably the funniest thing I've read during this election cycle. And I responded to that with, #Make America Chrome Again. So that's my statement. That's what I'm running off of.
See,
#Make America Chrome Again. Everything is chrome in the future.
I'm very glad that you've had such a positive outlook on everything that's happening.
I love it. It
I
makes
haven't
for
been
such
so
great
lucky.
jokes.
I haven't been so lucky because I denounce both of them, but Trump more so. And my position has always been one of very serious stance, But I mean, if I see the opportunity for a joke, I'm going to take it.
Oh, you have to.
Because after that, I mean, nothing's worth doing if you can't make a joke out of two people who are literally walking jokes.
Exactly. I saw a disagreement on two people that were Clinton and Trump supporters, or maybe just Trump and not Trump supporters. I don't know.
Trump and not Trump.
Yeah, but the one guy was like, said something like, "Oh, Trump makes money" or something, and the guy responded with, "Then why did most of his businesses go bankrupt?" And so the other guy responded with, 11 went bankrupt out of 250 or something. And then he ended that phrase with, how many things in your life can you say you have a 98% success rate with? And I stepped in and I went, peeing into the bowl? My aim's pretty good. I was like, well, when you really think about it, 2% of all the piss you've ever pissed in your life is a pretty high amount of piss.
And
when
at
you
least 98% of it went in the bowl.
Yeah, I was 98% accurate over the course of my life, but if you really think about the multiple, like, 20 years almost that I've been alive, 2% of all the piss that's exited me is a lot. That's a lot of missed piss. And considering most of it, like, came during the first 5 years of my life, like, man, that's a
You know what?
lot.
Wait. What about the piss that you do outside in the bushes?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a small amount considering how many times you piss during the day or like in a normal
Yeah.
day and how many times it's in the bowl. That's a lot. That really makes up for like all the times that you went in nature or in your pants as a child. Like and then you factor in how accurate you've been in your life, like how tired you were, and like the whole split stream thing, which is a whole nother topic that I'm sure a lot of our listeners have already been too grossed out by the topic of this to explain on. But there's so many factors that go into calculating exactly how much of your piss has hit the bowl.
Well, we go from politics to piss. That's
Yeah, that
us.
is about the most logical thing I've ever said in my life, and I'm okay with that. I think that's only natural. That's the most profound statement I've ever had.
That's amazing. Well,
Well, we've
let's wrap this up with just a couple of music things.
yeah. I wanted to talk about this because I just found out about this today, like actually right before we started recording. Childish Gambino's new album comes out next month. It's called I forget already. Oh no, I have to Google it. Dang it. That makes me sad. I was like, I know it. It's something Mama. Oh wait, that's the song name. The album is Awaken My Love.
Great.
He just released a single called Me and Your Mama, which I listened to before we started recording, and it's really good. So I'm super excited about that because it's been a while since we've got new Gambino. Plus we have his show Atlanta, and we've got just the fact that he exists as a human being. I mean, everything just seems great in the realm of if you like Donald Glover as a person. And I really do. So that's a big win. Do you have music things to talk about?
I have the only music thing I have for this week is just kind of like a top band of the week that I until like today totally forgot about, and I don't know why, because I'm really upset about myself for forgetting that this band kind of existed altogether. And if you like, I don't know, really good thrash pop punk, if that's what you want to call it. I don't know what the
Are you just
actual,
using the term
is.
now? Yeah, are you just using the term Seth gave us for Alteris?
It's not thrash pop.
Thrash
It's
pop?
really not. It's really not thrash pop. It's nothing like it. But go listen to Anti-Flag, okay? They're a great band out of, I believe it's the Philadelphia, Pittsburgh area. They're actually like really famous, but at the same time, they're really down to earth guys, and they have a lot to say about what's going on in our government. Even if maybe the albums they made were, I don't know, made in like 2008.
Huh.
But
cool.
my point stands. Go listen to them. They're really good, and that's about all I got on music.
Yeah, sounds cool. I
good.
forgot
It's
to
about it.
mention, something happened to me last week that I mentioned really like shortly on Twitter, and then also told like 2 people. But I really could have been way more vocal about it. And there's still a lot of people that I would like still intend on telling that I haven't told yet. You being one of them. What day was it? Wednesday? Thursday? Thursday. It was Thursday. Thursday afternoon, I was sitting in class, and I was having like a pretty grabby day. I was gonna try and say garbage and crappy, and it came out grabby. But I was having a pretty rough day, and my phone was dying, and I'm sitting in class, and there's like 10 minutes left in class, and my phone's at like 1%, and I was like, I really don't feel like walking back to class with walking back to my dorm with a dead phone. So I was like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna walk out of class 10 minutes early. It's a lecture, no one cares. So I got up and I walked out, and I take 2 steps out of the building, and I walk up the stairs to where like the walkway is, and I look right in front of me, and I'm like, hey, that person kind of looks familiar. Who are they walking with? And I looked closer, and I was like, Seth? And I was like, dude, Seth, is that you? And he looks up, he's like, Steve, what's going on, man? And it was Alteris walking out on the walkway towards my student center at Kent.
Oh
And I
my
was like,
god, that's amazing.
dude, what are you guys doing? And they were like, oh, we're going to go play an acoustic set at the Student Center before our show tonight. And I was like, are you serious? And they're like, yeah, you should come hang out. And so I went and I listened to their acoustic set. And I was like, so confused, because it was like, if I wouldn't have left class early, I wouldn't have bumped into Seth. And my phone was dead, so I wouldn't have like known that they were playing at the Student Center.
Yeah.
And so I got to hang out with them, and I was talking to them. It was the first time I got to meet the whole band, which was great because it was like the day after I made fun of the singer's mustache. And then I get to meet him the day after, and I was like, I'm really glad you didn't listen to our podcast. May or may not have made a joke at your mustache. But they're really great guys. It was really cool to meet them. Their music was really great. They sounded awesome. Met a few people that know them as well. And got to hang out with the mascot for Kent State because he came and listened, and we all chilled. I took a picture of all of them with the mascot, and it was pretty cool. But it was awesome to actually see them because I couldn't go to their show at Kent, and I felt bad. But I actually got to see their show in Kent, in the college, which is really cool. Also, did Morning and May play at that show?
Where? Which one?
The Outpost in Kent last Thursday.
I wasn't there.
Because when they were talking about their show that night, like they were just saying it out loud to everyone that walked by the Student Center, they said they were playing with Morning in May.
Huh.
And I was like, oh, hey, we talked about them on the show too.
We did, but very briefly.
Yeah, so I missed out on both Seth and Mike, my two favorite drummer friends.
Mike?
Yeah, Mike is my second favorite drummer friend because I only know two people that play the drums. Well, I'm only like genuine friends with two people that play the drums, and Mike qualifies. So, yeah, I missed out on both of them at the same show.
Okay, here's something to end on. A very funny thing. It was a small altercation between two people and George Lopez.
Oh.
You know George Lopez. Funny guy, really.
Funny okay. George.
So someone just tweets at George Lopez, "You should go back to Mexico." George Lopez accurately responds with, "Hey, screw you."
Oh, cool.
Someone responds to him, "You're bullying and swearing at an innocent girl because she gave her opinion, you horrible man." "Hey, screw you too." Because, wow, you're an idiot.
Wow, that was a really good exchange.
I love. Well, okay, he didn't say "screw you," but I'm trying to.
Yeah, we're censoring.
I'm not saying that on the show.
Yeah, we're
I'll
censoring
say
ourselves.
It later.
There was a fight on Twitter between Smash Mouth and the Oakland A's baseball team.
Really?
Yeah, Smash Mouth made a comment about how the A's weren't very good, and the A's Twitter responded with like, "Oh no, we're being burned by Smash Mouth. How will we ever recover?" Like super sarcastically. And I was like, wow, that's kind of rude. And then Smash Mouth, like the whole argument was Smash Mouth going like, you know, you guys really need to pick up your baseball team. You guys have been having some rough seasons. You're really not doing your city of Oakland proud. Like, we really want you guys to succeed. And then the A's Twitter would respond with, Smash Mouth is a dead band that no one cares about anymore, and you guys make bad music. And it's like, are you really going to stoop to the troll level of arguing with Smash Mouth? Is that really all you have? You can't legitimately come at them with a real argument like they're doing to you. It's Smash Mouth. What are you doing? Fighting with Smash Mouth is stupid in the first place, but to just point out that they're Smash Mouth is every argument? Come on, A's Twitter. Step your game up. I want to fight with the A's Twitter. I'm calling you out, Oakland A's Twitter page. I'm also calling you out, Smash Mouth. And Ken Bone. Randomly. I love you, Ken Bone.
Ken Bone, we love you.
Ken Bone, please come on the show and talk to us.
Ken Bone, please save us from this election.
Yeah, Ken Bone, you're our hero. I tweeted at Ken Bone.
Ken Bone for president.
Yeah, I tweeted at Ken Bone because he made a tweet about like saying like, oh, regardless of whether your candidate won or lost, like, please still be Americans. And he was like super, like a really uplifting tweet. And then he tweeted like 5 minutes later, wow, you tweet one thing about being helpful and hopeful for America, and you get responded with, shut up, fatty, you're the reason this happened. And I responded to that with, don't worry, Ken, no matter what happens, you'll always be our favorite Ken Bone. It was so great. I love
We
Ken
love
Bone.
you.
Yeah, we love you, Ken Bone. Yeah, I guess I'll make a quick mention. If you still wanted us to talk about the Nintendo Switch, we're now 3 weeks in a row of putting it off to next week. We'll just talk for an hour about the Nintendo Switch eventually.
I still know next to nothing.
Yeah. We'll find out one day. Maybe before its release. But over the weekend, I did a 24-hour charity live stream with my brother, and my goodness, was that difficult. It was fun. We had a good time. Played a lot of weird games. We played like a Sherlock Holmes game, which was actually really interesting. Sherlock Holmes, the video game. I actually had a good time with
Wait a
it.
minute. Crimes and Punishments?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a crazy game, dude.
Yeah, it was really cool. I didn't think I'd enjoy it as much as I did. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. And then we played a lot of other weird games. I don't remember a lot of them because I'm very tired. Or I was very tired and forgot all of it immediately. We played some Mario Maker, which was fun.
Amazing.
I love Mario Maker. Yeah, and we raised 315 plus. We're still waiting on some people who said they were going to donate. We don't know if they will or not. But as of right now, we raised $315 towards Rainbow Babies Children's Hospital in Cleveland.
Nice.
Or I don't know if that's the full name, but I know it's called Rainbow Babies, and it might also be a children's hospital attached to it. But yeah, $315, which is close to as much as we raised in our best year, which was 2 years ago. In 2014, we raised $325. So we were super proud of ourselves and super happy that we were able to raise that much money. It's always an honor and always a joy to support charity because it's the least we can do as people. And so I guess if you still want to donate, I'll probably put the link to the page in the description of this video. If you can't or won't, doesn't matter. I feel like I just felt like talking about it though because it was fun and it really ruined my sleep schedule. To where this episode, if it was done any earlier in the week, would have been a lot less profound and probably also would have taken multiple days to edit. And when I say edit, I mean I'm probably just going to throw this up without editing. I don't think there's been anything I've needed to edit.
Not really.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed any weird sounds on your end. I didn't notice.
No.
There was maybe a few people walking by me on my end, but...
I heard whistling in yours.
Yeah, maybe it was like...
But I mean, who cares? That sounds cool.
Yeah, hopefully that's fine. Now, Seth, on the other hand, Seth made me work. Dude, I didn't tell him, and I hope he's not listening because I would feel bad if he found out. He sent me his audio, and it was more background noise than voice.
Really?
Oh my gosh, dude, it was all background. There was this consistent static that was just in his... It sounded like his microphone... Yeah, it sounded like his microphone was broken, in all honesty.
Wow.
On top of that, he also like adjusted himself a lot of like his sitting position, I would guess, and bumped his mic a lot and had a lot of like those noises. He also, of course, ate Reese's in the middle of our depression talk, which was hilarious, and I don't fault him for it. I think it was really funny, but it did put more work into the editing. I did a lot of work editing that video or that podcast. It took forever. I thought it was going to take like maybe an hour. It took me 2.5.
Wow.
It was stressful, but we still loved having him on. It didn't take away anything from having him on the show, and hopefully post tour we can have him on a few more because it was a lot of fun having Seth on. Seth's my favorite. Yeah, this will be the second week that I'm making slight sexual passes at him while he's not on the show. I went back and listened to the part in the third episode where it was when we were talking about him being on the show and how I was like, yeah, and we're like similar builds or different builds but similar people, and I was like, although I do think Seth's a little cooler than me, and I was like, Seth, if you're listening, and I got real up close on the mic and went, I love you. And I went back and listened to it and I was like, yeah, that was awesome. I'm glad I did that.
I did it.
Yeah, and then you did it. You did it right after about Alteris itself. So there's a lot of weird homosexual passes at the band Alteris, and you know what? We're proud of that.
And that's okay, because we love them.
Yeah, in more ways than one. I'm sorry, we talked about piss for like 20 minutes. I'm really not sure where to go from here. I guess this is where we wrap up.
This is where we wrap up. So
this is where
thanks,
we'll come.
Guys.
So we have our social media links down below, but as usual, you can find me on Twitter at Stevie3V, on Snapchat, Stevie3V again, and on Twitch, twitch.tv/theeveryman. I was not able to stream today because I'm currently recording in the time that I would be streaming, and I didn't stream yesterday because I had some stuff to work on in real life. But you should find me Monday through Friday, hopefully, 4 o'clock to 7 o'clock. I play Hearthstone and I make funny jokes, and I'm way as monotone as I am on this show. I'm even more monotone on stream, and it's really fun.
And I'm on Twitter too, but I swear to God, I still can't remember my name,
Yours
so
is
it's going to be down there.
At Captain Anarchy, at CPT Anarchy 97. I remember because I looked at the description of the last video before I started.
You're a good
recording.
person.
Yeah, CPT Anarchy 97.
CPT Anarchy.
Yep.
97, I think.
Yep, 97. And
I think.
if you like what we do, if you like the show, please hit that like button. It doesn't take a lot of time, it doesn't take a lot of effort out of you, but it really does let us know how we're doing and if you really like what you're listening to. And if you didn't like what you're listening to, dislike it. I mean, go ahead, feel free.
I mean, that's cool. It's a free country.
We want to know how you think and what you're thinking. And if you have actual opinions on what you want to hear talked about or something positive or negative about me or Chris or anything, hit us up on Twitter or hit us up in the comments below. We read everything we get. We read everything from everybody. We want to talk to you guys.
Shoot some suggestions. I'm down for it.
We want to know what you think. We care a lot about what our listeners think. So please let us know. Anything as simple as a like will let us know quite a bit about what you think. So yeah, that's it for us. Sorry for the longer episode, but I mean, come on. It's a bit of a serious topic that we needed to get out of the way. So
one last thing before we go, and I'd like to close on it. Hey guys, let's go smash the state and then get some ice cream.
Yay.
Good times.
Dude, speaking of ice cream, I had 2 different people tell me on election night that they got ice cream and it didn't make them any happier. Neither of them knew about the other saying it. But I was texting 2 people, like my brother and Bryce. I was texting both of them. And my brother was like, I ate a whole big thing of ice cream and I still feel sad. And I was like, that's kind of funny. And then 10 minutes later, I'm texting Bryce. He goes, dude, I bought a banana split from Dairy Queen and I still feel sad. And I was like, what's with you people eating ice cream and it not making you feel better? What are we, women? Like, yeah, best way to end is on a sexist joke. Hee hee. Up with the patriarchy. Wow. All right, we love you guys.
We love you. See
Until
you later.
Next week. See you later. Wow, what have we done?